I was running blind this Sunday morning, headed north and relying on the radio to locate the first CSX trains of the day.
2, 5, 0, no defect. No defect. Range of 0, 3.
This defect detector is at Dade City on the S line. But was the train north or southbound? And then while driving through Dade City, I hear it, a second train out there somewhere. The thing that's happened to me this morning is the thing that always happens to me. I hear two trains, one's headed one way, one's headed the other, and I'm right in the middle. So you have to make a decision. This morning, I'm going to chase the northbound train. I'm at Owensboro right now. I'm coming into Owensboro, so I'm going to boogie north. Then, while trying to close the gap, I hear it's L230, auto racks headed north. By St. Catherine, I've caught up with the bottom of 230. This engineer is wasting no time. She's hauling empties, and likely with plenty of power.
3.
In another 5 minutes, she and I are racing for the crossing at Panasoffkee. I think she's going to win.
Range of train 5, 0, 7, 7. Train speed 4, 9.
I'm about 6 miles south of Wildwood, and because of the highway layout, I will never see this train again.
CSX train L23022 with CSX engine 5249 at the Approach Limited Turnpike, northbound out.
Into Wildwood, things are quiet. At the south end of town, Conrad Yelvington's mineral supply yard and its Alco S2 switcher are all resting comfortably. In the CSX yard on the main line is a unit train waiting for a new crew. The slug set that serves as the Wildwood switcher is also at rest. It's hard to believe that this peaceful place is all that's left of the once mighty SAL Wildwood Terminal. Throughout the 30s, 40s, 50s, and into the 60s, Wildwood Yard was the busiest on the SAL in Florida. Never a slack time at Wildwood, 365, 24/7. Lots of passenger trains. The division point, of course, was here. Some went to West Florida, to Tampa, St. Petersburg, Sarasota. Others went to Miami. They split at Coleman down there. But there was never a slack time at Wildwood, always busy. Plus, Seaboard didn't have the luxury that the coastline had, having a separate freight route into Florida. Just had this one main line coming into Florida, what we now call the S line. But Wildwood was a beehive back in those days. Trains like the Silver Meteor, Silver Star, and lots of other passenger trains, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week here at Wildwood. Well, most of that's all gone now. The freight depot remains as a signal maintainer's parts house, but the passenger train canopies, the ice plant, locomotive shops, turntable, and a dozen other support buildings are all gone. The action picks up when I hear Q452 coming north.
CSXTQ 45222, engine 7654 north, got a clear. Mooreland Mark, track 1 out.
I move to the north end on the bottom of that grain train to shoot him. Afterward, the JA dispatcher coordinates a swap meet with 452 and 453. For a few years, the service plan has called for Tampa and Waycross crews of these two trains to meet and swap and return to their respective terminals. Pretty efficient. On the way, I pass a horrific crash scene at Hawthorne. A tractor trailer and some now unidentifiable vehicle collided here in the pre-dawn. Only a few miles up the road, another accident. This one, a train derailment. That happened on June 2nd, and here, 3 weeks later, the scrap company is still cutting up the cars at the wreck site. I make it to Waldo ahead of Q452 and set up at the old Amtrak station. I'd hoped to see the crew swap, but it was set for the north end of the siding, and that's in the woods and only accessed on the Signal Maintainers Road.
South end of Waldo, Amtrak.
In just a few minutes, southbound Q453 emerges from the crew swap. In only 11 miles, he has to notch it back for the slow order at the Campville derailment site. But he's running strong again by the time he reaches the north end of Anthony. Here, Q453 is meeting northbound K710. The empty hopper train has no trouble accelerating out of the siding to track speed. In another half hour, I get word that the grain train that was standing all day at Wildwood is on the move south. G929 is unit corn for Cal-Maine, a grain elevator 28 miles south at Lacoochee. Because the industry spur is a dead end, 929 heads into Lacoochee siding, cuts off at the south end, comes back north to couple on to the north end, and shoves the train into the spur. And all this has to be done in between regular freights passing on the main line. This is Q613, traffic from Mulberry, Florida.
22 south engine. 4682 got a clear north end of Lacoochee, southbound. Down there, Brother Rick.
G929 finally pulls the whole train out of the siding and starts backing into the Cal-Maine spur. My friend from DeLand, Travis Taylor, is chasing with me today. This is an aerial view of Travis from the DJI Phantom quadcopter, and this is the photo he took of me. Until recently, this was Columbia Grain, now owned and operated by Cal-Maine, the nation's largest producer of eggs. Today's delivery is 100% feed corn. It will be offloaded into the giant grain elevator and the neighboring stack houses. This train contains about 18 million pounds of corn, and all of it will be offloaded today. This giant site wasn't always a grain elevator. It was at one time the massive Comer Brothers sawmill, employing hundreds of people. Lacoochee was a bona fide mill town. Conversely, the Cal-Maine grain elevator is not a giant employer at Lacoochee. Only about 6 or 7 people work here. With the late June temperature nearing 95 degrees at 6 p.m., I've about had enough. In Lacoochee, Florida, this is Danny Harmon, out.